PBS's Frontline did this crazy piece on the dancing boys of Afghanistan. And when I say crazy, it's really difficult to watch, and it's almost mind-boggling that stuff like this happens in the world. But basically, the dancing boys of Afghanistan do something known as bachabazi. And it's when young Afghan boys are sold off to warlords or to rich businessmen, and they're forced to dress in women's clothing and dance and perform in front of men.
And what you're not going to get in this video is they refer to sex a little bit, but understand that yes, of course, and as the Frontline documentary explains, they do use the boys for sex. So first the dancing and then sex. And for some boys they say, oh, they're not good at dancing, so they go straight to the sex. So, well, you're going to see how young the boy is, etc. Let's have you watch a small piece of it.
During the war against the Russians, Dastagir was a Mujahideen commander. Today, he's a very successful businessman. He owns a car dealership in Takhar, importing vehicles from the Far East, along with a string of other businesses. A respectable businessman and devout Muslim by day. At night, he leads a double life. Dastagir invited Najibullah to meet one of his favorite dancing boys. Imam is 15 years old and is a veteran performer.
ملایم بود با جانش کاغذ با دست لبانش با جانی بچه زنه قدی کالای کتانش.
Imam was borrowed from his owner for this small party, staged for a few select men in Takhar.
نشان به جایت بشناس ما خواهد کباب بریان کدی
The musician, Rafi, a close friend of Dastagir, is an important figure in Bachabazi circles in Takhar. Ghulam, another friend of Dastagir, owns a restaurant in Takhar.
چقدر بچه خودت داشت؟
خودم حیات تیر از دیگه کیت 2000 تیر شده 3000 تیر شده هر چی که بگی
آمده و رفت
آمده و رفت
تو کام خاطره خوش داری هست؟
بله
چه قسم
خاطره که خوش دارم اینا را هر دقیقه ببینم خوشم میاد
فقط علاقه خاصی داره بیناست
بله
کتینا سکس هم میکنی؟
نه
There had been an argument. Some of the other men wanted to take Imam home tonight, but Dastagir was having none of it.
بچه فیصله رسیم بچه رو کی میبرن؟
بچه رو من میبرم.
تو میبری؟
آه. بیا بریم.
Man, a great piece by PBS's Frontline and called The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan. A couple of things struck me. First, he's a veteran at the age of 15.
I know.
So they take the boys, of course, when they're really, really young. Obviously not willing participants, certainly in the beginning. God knows, you know, what they tell them to get them to do this stuff, let alone the obvious force involved. And religious hypocrites are all over the world. These are the guys, devoutly Muslim and Taliban, and we fight. Now, not these specific guys, not necessarily the Taliban, but there was an edict put out by the head of the Taliban that we covered on the show earlier, where they said stop taking the boys home, the boy warriors home, and having sex with them. So apparently it's a very, very widespread thing in Afghanistan, while they pretend to be in favor of morality, etc. The other interesting thing is it's not girls.
Yeah.
They think that that's immoral, but if they're going to have sex with the boys, well, of course, that makes all the sense in the world. And they're fighting for morality, and don't get them wrong, Islam, you're not supposed to be with boys at all. And so they don't give a damn. And the other thing that makes me think is that, I don't know, man, you look at that and you go, it depends so much in the culture that you grow up, I guess, right? Because I mean, at least the guys in that town, I mean, they couldn't get enough of that 15-year-old boy.
I know.
So I guess they're all bisexual at least, right? So, and they're in love with the kid. I mean, they saw him dancing.
They would die for him.
Yeah, they want to go drown themselves in the river over this kid, right? And then they get into a fight about who's going to take him home, etc. And these are the holy warriors. And again, understand that it's more to do with culture, the local culture, than it is necessarily to do with the religion. There's religious hypocrites in every religion, right? And not every Muslim country has this at all, right? But in this case, these are the guys who are supposed to be the most devout. Mm-hmm. And they're doing the most disgusting things. And I mean, when I think about the family that had that kid taken away from them, or when I think about the boy when they first got him at 12 or 13, it just, I can't describe how sickening that is.
It is sickening. And you know, there was this one scene in The Kite Runner, I don't know if you remember this scene,
do.
Where Zorab comes out and he starts dancing, right? And the person who was there to save him was just so angry when he saw him dancing, and I was like, okay, he's dancing. I understand that he's angry about that, but what's the story behind that? I don't really understand. There's some cultural thing that I'm missing. And that's exactly what was happening in that scene. This whole bachabazi was happening, where they're forcing this young boy to dance like a woman, dress like a woman, and then they go and they sodomize him later.
And how widespread is it? I mean, you saw that guy, he said, I've been with 2,000 or 3,000 boys.
That's so disgusting.
Oh, man. No, it's amazing what people do and of course, many times in the guise of religion. They'll cover it up as, we're fighting for Islam. You ain't fighting for Islam, and that's not in the Quran. And in the end, of course, people always fight for more money, more sex, and the more deviant, the better. So, look, final thing I'll say on it is that when I see stuff like that, it makes me want to stay in Afghanistan forever, okay, until we get that to stop. But don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid. I know it's not our job, okay, and I know it's not, I don't want to say it's not possible, right, but the United States Army cannot change the local culture there. The local culture has to change by itself at some point. And that's why I think the much smarter thing to do is education, okay? Education, after a long time, wears down this kind of ignorance.